Hello, everybody. So today I had an interesting talk with somebody I know, and it was a very psychological talk. Almost felt like I was at a psychologist. So basically, she told me that because I was talking about my process and what had happened, she was like, "You are acting passive aggressive," means you have all these opportunities and you're not saying yes or no, you're just allowing them to be, so you're going with the flow, but you're not actively choosing. So if you actively choose, you would say yes and you would fully engage with it and give it your all, and you're not actively saying no. You're saying okay, you go along with it, and then once the opportunity or the struggle or whatever arises, you use an excuse to not do what you want to do. You use whatever is not working to explain or to justify why you cannot or shouldn't do it. And so you're revealing like basically you just need to say yes or no, but you're not doing that. And I thought about it, and honestly, for me, if I tune in, if I look at my life, I've really tried to live in the past by making a to-do list. I would every day I would make a to-do list, and I would have like this whole notebook. I remember I read this book by Brian Tracy, Mastery or something, or yeah, it was Mastery or Bite That Frog, some popular book, and it was really amazing. Like the information that you get there, it's really amazing to get you started. For me, I remember it was like all about goal setting, time management, getting to know yourself, getting to know your limits, having a growth mindset, like growth. You have to keep growing. And I felt like I was a robot being programmed, or having these tools to program myself to be a super achiever. But emotionally, I was not involved in it because, while doing all these self-inquiry processes, I was always using the mind, and I was always using techniques to get some answers. So basically, whatever was in me, like my mix of my memories, my experiences, they would just be remixed, rehashed, and then something new would come out. And it was always like this. And for a while it worked because I had energy, I had drive, I was fed up with my past, so I had the drive to go into something that I really wanted, to go away from what I didn't want and to go towards what I wanted. And my friend, she told me today, like, you're at this point because you have like such freedom now, where you don't really feel the consequences of not doing anything. You're just comfortable, so you can say yes, you can say no, but you don't really feel the consequences. I remember back then I would feel the consequences. If I didn't do what I wanted to do, I would be stuck and I would just be completely disengaged. I wouldn't feel connected to life. If I was chasing my goals, I was active and there was momentum and things were happening, but it always felt like I could never relax because it was always the next thing to do, the next thing to do, the next thing to do. I remember I had, some years ago, I was by the pier walking, and there was a man there just walking by the pier, and we started to talk. He was a really sweet man. I could see it in his eyes, and we talked about religion and spirituality. And I remember him telling me that he was a neurosurgeon, and when he when he grew up, he always wanted to take care of people. So he was a successful neurosurgeon, he had a great paycheck, and he took care of his wife. He took care of his daughters, of his kids, but he's like, I spoiled them too much. By giving them everything, they never felt the urge or the drive to go out and do something. Like even the daughter, she expected to get a certain car from him just because it was her birthday, and there was no the way of relating about these things, about everything that you have in the world. It was very different. And he's like, I pampered my wife, and because she was so comfortable, she didn't do anything with her life. She just lived comfortably. She didn't get the chance to express because she didn't have the urge, because everything was taken care of. And he was like, you know what I really want? Like, if I could now just go, leave it all behind. He's like, I would go to the Osho Center in Puja, or I don't remember the name, but he's like, to the center of where Osho lived, and I would just live there, spend my time mending the gardening, and just spend my time there. It's like a couple of years ago he had a dog, and he's like, that dog made me so happy because I didn't have to communicate with them. There was just play. He was so playful. It's like he would give a year of his life if he could have him back. When I listen to people like this and they talk about these kind of things, I understand a couple of things. I understand that there's nothing or no one that can really make us happy. There's only the illusion of creating a certain life, creating a certain structure, creating and chasing certain goals, and then trying to get there, trying to become fulfilled through them. Now, I've experienced myself, whenever I achieved a goal that I really wanted, it was so ephemeral. It was so fleeting. I remember when I applied to go to acting school, I remember I was studying, I was preparing myself. It was a prestigious school in Belgium where a lot of famous actors had trained, and I remember preparation and meditation, and every day it was a lot of tough work. It was a lot of tough work. It was really disciplined. I don't know how I did it, but every day studying, every day doing emotional exercises to release emotions, dancing, just freeing up the instruments, singing, memorization, all of that. And for me, memorization was like always like a nag, like honestly it was the biggest nag ever. So anyway, I remember I was at the school, and you have to do like an examination, and then you're chosen out of 100 something people, or even more or even less, I don't remember how many. They choose you. They choose the people that are like say selected. So when they select people, they keep in mind the setup of the whole group, how the dynamics in the group are, and of course they're looking for whether or not you are what they're looking for. Now, I remember I was doing my examination, and I was in such a flow. And then waiting, I remember the guy coming and saying names and saying these people are accepted. And when I heard my name, I felt this like this feeling of yes, I got it, like, and it was so fleeting. It lasted for a couple of, I don't know how long, but it lasted so little. And while I was aware of that, I was looking at all the people that were disappointed that they did not get in. And I was looking at them and seeing their faces, and I was like, wow, just because he said that, yes or no, their whole trajectory changes. Their whole path of life changes. And going there for me, like, the way that I got there was through will, through drive. It was not by surrender. It was actually disciplining myself and driving myself and training myself and demanding of myself, and then having little moments of surrender. But it didn't make me happy. It didn't make me happy. Very soon I realized I didn't even enjoy the process of acting. I didn't enjoy it. It was just an opportunity for me to develop myself psychologically, because I had lived as such an introvert. I had not have the chance, or I didn't in my previous life before that, I had always lived so closed off, and I had this image of looking like a playboy, but I was not a playboy at all. I was super shy, and I really didn't know who I was. And then when I was watching movies, I thought whoa, these people are having all these life experiences, adventures, love experiences. I want that. I want to be able to live, to express, to have that intensity of life, because I was missing that. And in that container, in that safe space, it was awesome, because it was just a group of people who were experimenting with expressing their personality, the edge of what their personality can express. And it was really fun. But I did not necessarily enjoy the process of acting, of memorizing lines, of doing the whole setup. Why? Because it didn't come easy to me. It felt like so much work, and it felt like I had to do so much. The process of acting, so for instance, if you have a text, you need to deconstruct the text. You need to find the beats, the changes of rhythm, the changes of intention, the changes of the subtext, the specific moments in the text. They need a specific reaction, or they need a specific meaning. So you have to substitute that word with an experience from your life, or you need to use imagination, or you need to use active verbs with that. It was so much honestly, for me, it was so much unnecessary work. It didn't lead to anything, because when I was then acting, when I was in front of everybody, and I was doing, and everything that I had worked for, it was paying off, and then I was having such a blast and such a freedom. It was free-flowing, living and expressing and dancing and shouting and emoting, and then sitting with the teachers, and they're like, you're like a diamond. The things you say, the way you said them, everything was, they said a lot of things. I was so happy for that while. But I understood that I did not feel happy. I did not enjoy it. And I understood all these goals, they're coming from my past. They're coming from what I didn't receive in the past. So all my experiences in the past, which created a situation for me where I had lack of certain things, I was now having goals to try to compensate those lacks and to create experiences where I would have abundance instead of lacks. But it took me quite a while until I understood that it wasn't my soul calling. It wasn't my true it wasn't the heart's work. It wasn't the heart's way. It was my way of redeeming myself, my way of getting to experience, to try. And I don't regret it, because I had to go through that. But when I crashed, and I did crash, and I left school, there was such a deep depression, because all of a sudden, everything that I tried to make myself happy didn't make me happy. It did not make me happy, and I didn't know what to do. What new goals do I need to get to make me happy? Is it again asking myself questions and having to look at past experiences? And then I thought, like, I'm gonna do it through meditation. I'm gonna do through chasing enlightenment. Like, I already knew about Eckhart Tolle. I already knew about the Four Agreements, like those kind of intro things. But I didn't know about like the real esoteric spirituality, like the Gnostic spirituality, like the mysticism. So I was delving into that, Kriya Yoga and self-inquiry, Ramana Maharshi, Adyashanti, Muji, and then psychedelics, and just like Sadhguru, all these things, they started to intermingle. No, who did I follow? I followed Sadhguru, Adyashanti, mostly those, and Muji a little bit. Yeah, and they really like showed me deeper layers of spirituality. But Ramana Maharshi, I had heard of him, I had read about him, but very like, it was still like far off, because I was still looking at it as I, who is unfulfilled in my life from my experiences, am gonna use spirituality to make myself free from suffering, to make myself fulfilled, to make myself happy. And you know, when I stumbled upon the non-duality stuff from Ramana Maharshi, I remember he's talking about the self, he's talking about surrendering to God, surrendering your will completely, like just be silent, everything will happen, what is supposed to happen will happen, what is not supposed to happen will not happen. I was like, I didn't understand all that. I was like, what? How? So, and I was also not really interested in that. I was interested in how can I use meditation to be successfully in feeling happy, and then going back to that place that just failed, and then while happy, doing the same things. And it took me quite a while to realize that I was not coming out of truth. I was not coming from my inner feelings, I was not listening to my heart. It's a tricky thing if you don't know how to listen to your heart, because there's a lot of mind stuff going on. And it's only since I started to, when I had like really big life challenges, like being in the hospital, thinking that I was gonna die, having 5-MeO-DMT, having ayahuasca, meeting my girlfriend and having the deep relationship with her. Through experiences, there was like wisdom that was extracted from the experiences, that taught me about who I could be, who I wasn't, what I liked, what I didn't like, and what my qualities were, how I like to be, how I love to be. And honestly, I wasn't very active in society. I never felt like I was really interested in society and society's schemes, and just like going on the circle, working, the whole thing, getting a family, just I wasn't interested, because I knew it won't make me happy. So it took me quite a while until I discovered SCAP, and until I started to really do practices that have to do with alignment, like Joe Dispenza, his meditations, that things started to shift. Because all of a sudden, there was now energetic imprints, energetic desires, energetic knowings that were coming to the foreground, and I recognized that this is what I resonate with, and this is what I want to do naturally. I don't even have to convince myself. It's like naturally, and I don't have to change myself. I don't have to become somebody. I just have to go through processes, and I'm enough. I'm enough. And this is so radically different than what I had learned before. That, you have to look up to people, set ideals, try to be like them, try to imitate them, try to imitate their path. And it didn't work for me, because I did. I tried to imitate James Bond in terms of relating with women. I had some success. So funny. I would just ask myself, what would James Bond do? And then I would just feel what he would do, and then I would act like that. And for some, I don't know why, but it worked. I remember it working. Not a lot, but it worked. I remember I wasn't humble because I was trying to prove myself. I was trying to be this ideal. And it's only now that whatever I'm trying to be, whatever I'm trying to do, it just doesn't work. It falls flat. The energy dissipates, and I understand that the only way things can happen spontaneously, organically, beautifully, and gracefully is if I'm not in the way. And if I just put all I have really to do, all my work is setting my intention and putting myself into alignment, and then trusting that whatever I'm meant to do, I will do. Whatever needs to happen will happen. But it's all about being. Before, it was all about thinking, doing. And now it's all about just being. And with being, I mean it's about feeling a quality and abiding as that quality, as love or peace or joy. And from that quality, you relate to everything in your life. You live as that quality. You imbue everything you touch and everything you do with that quality. And the thing is, while you are as that quality, you don't know what you will do, because it goes beyond your identity. You don't have a goal. You don't have a me wanting something from you. You're just that quality. You're just being, and it's just expressing, emanating. It's not like me wanting you to give or wanting to push you away. It's not like that. So today, when I was talking with this woman, she told me, I think you have like a an identity issue. You're not grounded in who you are. Like, I didn't know for years who I was. For years I didn't know who I was. When I started spirituality, I didn't know that as well. Now I'm only starting to see the blueprint gradually, slowly, piece by piece, of who I am. What is apparently inherently there, what is not created, what is not made up by my mind, what is not imprinted from my parents, from my society, from my family, from whatever. It's not from outside. It's there. It's inherent. And I'm discovering that. And there needs to be time for that embodiment to give itself a way of expressing and creating in the world, and building foundations or structures for it to function. And that means leaving everything behind that is not resonating, leaving everyone behind that is not resonating, And it may seem selfish. It may seem like you should look after your parents, you should help your family, you should stick to your friends, you should just accept your normal regular job, you should just focus on the normal things and just live your life. You should, but why should you? Why should you live a life that's expected of you, but which is not your life? You're living the idea of life, of what life is supposed to be, but you're not feeling alive. Like, if you look at people and if you talk to people, how many of them truly feel alive? Truly feel alive. Like, I know over the years, because I've been withdrawn from society and I've focused on my own things, and I'm so used to the cap setting and the sessions and all of that, there's a different quality, a different energy, a different atmosphere and ambience when you're in those circles. There's acceptance, there's warmth, there's openness, there's harmony, there's an embrace, there's a stillness that's like oozing with like, you can just land here and be safe and be at peace. When I go out, like to workplaces or to things here, I just feel that energy. I feel the frantic like energy, like constantly, like, you know, like constantly like this. It's so unstable. No, not unstable. It's so it's so overactive. It's constantly in tension. I could feel the tension. Not overactive, but tense. There's a lot of tension, and that constant tension, you feel it in everything that is being done. Like the rhythm, the way everything is done. It's so out of tune with beingness. It's like there's a rushing and everything. There's a need to do more and to be more and never ending thing. And I'm not saying that nobody's enjoying themselves, but I rarely see that people are enjoying themselves. Like just the way people talk to you, even the way people address you, there's a certain kind of, I don't want to say negativity, but a certain kind of tension in it, some kind of directness, confrontation in it. And I'm shying away from that all. I'm really learning to understand what life is really all about. And it's not about what they tell you. It's really a discovery of living your true alignment and what that means for you specifically. And in every person, it's going to be different, because every life force expression is going to have, I don't know, maybe not, I think it will have different, like, not everybody's going to have the same impulses as I do. No, not everybody's going to be pulled to the same people, to the same places. Not everybody's is going to have the same kind of longing to create something. So it's all about what is life calling forth in you. And it's really like an intimate affair, being intimate with yourself, being intimate with the process of life, instead of searching for the meaning of life or the purpose of life or the ultimate experience of life. Yeah. All right. I wish everybody a beautiful day, and may you all enjoy happiness and the root of happiness.